Hey everyone, this is the Millionaire Hippies Podcast with your host, Boom Shikha, where we chat about spirituality, business, and health. We all want to live self-actualizing, fulfilling lives with joy, prosperity, and gratitude. Let's go on this beautiful journey together.
Hey everyone, my name is Boom Shikha and I welcome you to another episode of my podcast, the Millionaire Hippie Podcast. In this episode, I want to speak to you guys about this book that I'm currently reading called Talent is Overrated. It's a brilliant, brilliant book. Absolutely am loving everything about it. And so I wanted to obviously share that with you because I love sharing everything that I'm doing with you guys. The book is actually written by Jeff Colvin, and it's called Talent is Overrated, what really separates world-class performers from everybody else. Brilliant, brilliant book. If you can pick it up, do pick it up. But the main tenet of it is in the title. Talent is overrated. In fact, what he says in the book, and what I believe absolutely, is that talent doesn't actually exist. There are no talented people on this planet, people. There are no talented people. There is no such thing as talent. And those people who seem to be overnight successes are mostly people who have been working at it diligently and hard for about 10 to 15 years before they got any recognition and before they got called talented or geniuses or whatever else words you want to use for it. Every single person that is at the pinnacle of their success right now, who are really famous and who are really doing very well, worked at it really hard for years on end, without any recognition, without any recognition from other people, from themselves, without any accolades, without any money, without any fame, without anything else. And they worked at it still because they love what they do, and they kept on working at it, improving themselves, and eventually they became these pinnacle of success people, the successful people that are out there right now. They didn't just jump into it right away. They're not overnight successes, even though we'd like to believe that it's their talent or their genius that is making them be at this successful point. It's not the case. The problem with this theory is that, or the theory that says that talent does exist, is that what it does is that it puts people into boxes or buckets, right? And this is what I believed for the longest time, was that I am not talented, I'm not creative. There are other people out there who have that creativity, who have that talent, but I don't have it. And what that does is that it puts me in a bucket, which is the non-creative, non-talented bucket, and there are other people in the creative and talented bucket, and the buckets never meet. Like, there is no way I could jump from the bucket that I'm in, which is the non-creative, non-talented bucket, into the bucket that has the talented people. I can't jump into that bucket. It's not possible for me because I wasn't born with it. And so for the rest of my life, if I hadn't changed my mindset, I would have believed that I'm not talented, I am not special, I'm ordinary, and I'm going to have to live this ordinary life, not doing any creative work because I don't have it, whatever it is, right? But those people have it, so they can do whatever they want because they have that talent, they have that skill, they can do whatever they want with that skill and talent, right? And so we believe this for the longest time, and we put ourselves in these buckets, and we tell ourselves we can't live our dreams, we can't live all those things that we want, we can't have them because we don't have the talent. And you'll never have the talent because either you're born with it or you're not born with it. Once you start believing and knowing that talent is overrated, there is no such thing as talent, everyone can be successful. Everyone can get to that pinnacle of success if they want to. All they have to do is put in the hard work. All they have to do is work on it for years on end without any recognition, and eventually they will get there. If you just believe that, then the whole scenario completely topples overhead, right? Because it's not the same thing anymore. It doesn't mean that I am stuck in this bucket here and you're in that bucket and we can never meet. It's not the case anymore. It means that I'm in this bucket right now, perhaps the non-talented, non-creative bucket, but if I just work on myself, I work on my creativity, if I keep on writing, if I keep on doing work on myself, eventually I can move over to that other bucket, which is filled with the talented, successful people, right? And so in fact, there are no buckets, they're just pathways or journeys that we're all on. Some people are ahead of the journey, in the journey, ahead of you. So, they're on the journey and they started a little bit faster than you, a little bit harder, or they've been at it more longer than you, and so they're there. And you, maybe perhaps you're just starting out, and so you have a little bit of way to go. But it doesn't mean that you can't get to where they are at. It's just that you're on a different pathway, a different part of the journey. You're on a different path. You're on a different point of the journey, right? I hope that makes sense. And so if we can just really think of it this way, if we can just change our mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, as Carol Dweck says in her book, The Mindset, or Mindset in general, I really, really think if we can move from the fixed to growth mindset, we can really change the way we look at everything. A lot of people would come to me and say, oh my God, you're writing so much, I would never be able to do that. And I always tell them that a year or 2 years ago, I was writing 0 words every single day. Even though right now I write 4,000 to 5,000 words a day, a year or 2 years ago, it's like maybe a year and a half ago, I was writing 0 words a day. 0. Maybe more, maybe 200, 300. Maybe at points I was writing a little bit more. But mostly I was writing 0 words a day, guys. 0. And that's how I started. So I started off where you guys are. And then little by little, I grew the number of words that I wrote every single day. Little by little, I started increasing it. First to 500, and then to 1,000, and then 2,000, and then over and over again. Until I'm at the point right now where I'm writing 4,000 or 5,000 words a day. Not every single day, but minimum every single day I'll write 1,000 words. But I didn't get to that point from 0 to 1,000 just like that. It took me a little bit of time to develop that skill. Now, the words I'm writing right now are better than the words I wrote a year ago, and are better than the words I wrote 10 years ago, and I'm improving all the time. And they're going to be, they're always going to get better. So a year from now, I'm going to be writing better. Or 2 years from now, I'm going to be writing even better. And that is how I'm going to keep on improving. And that's how I'm going to get to that point where I'm going to be that best-selling author that you hear about in 10 years from the future. And everyone's going to call me a genius. But what's going to happen is that I'm not actually a genius. I just worked on my craft, just like Stephen King worked on his craft, just like J.K. Rowling worked on a craft, just like Elizabeth Gilbert works on a craft. All of these people, they're considered geniuses, writing geniuses. And I'm not saying anything about them. They're awesome, amazing writers, and I absolutely commend them for that. But they're not geniuses, guys. They worked on their craft really, really, really hard for years on end. Stephen King was writing since the time, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old, and he wrote and wrote and wrote, and he got so many rejections. And despite of that fact that he kept on writing, he's not a genius. He worked on his craft. He worked really hard on his craft. He worked while he was working, doing a full-time job and had kids and had to pay bills and all that stuff. He still kept on writing. That's the kind of diligence he had. That's the kind of love he had for writing. That's the reason he is where he is, making millions of dollars from each of his books. It just didn't happen randomly. He worked on it. Same thing with Elizabeth Gilbert. Same thing with J.K. Rowling. She's considered a genius, and I love her books to death. I mean, she's obviously has some talent and all that stuff, but she's not a complete genius. I wouldn't say it's just genetic. It has to be the fact that she worked so hard on it. She was destitute, guys, and she was, living on food stamps or whatever they call it in England, and she still kept on writing. There are people here right now who want to be writers, who have a really good life, they have an easy life, they have the time to do it, but they still don't write. Where are you guys going to be 10 years from now if you're not writing? You're going to be in the same spot. Whereas J.K. Rowling, she wrote even when she didn't have enough money to eat, and she kept on writing even when she didn't have enough money for diapers or whatever it might be. She kept on writing throughout that, and that's the reason she is where she is. She worked on her craft. She kept on writing. She kept on tweaking, kept on improving herself. That is how she became this genius that we think of her as. She didn't just plop into genius just like that. She worked at it. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of us forget is that, we look at the end product. We always look at the end product. We look at the people and they're making millions of dollars, or they have a big Facebook group, or they have, a business that makes them $10,000, $15,000 a day, or whatever it might be. We look at the end product, right? And we think to ourselves, they are so lucky, or they're such geniuses, or they have so much talent, or, how did they do it? I could never do that. And so we always have these thoughts in our head whenever we look at these people, and they're all self-limiting thoughts because they're telling us over and over again that we're not good enough, that we're never going to get to that point because they're different from us. They're better than us somehow, and they're not, guys. No one is better than you. No one is worse than you. We're all exactly the same on different paths, on different points in the path, right? So you're a little bit further ahead. They're a little bit further ahead than you, and you're a little bit behind them, right? A little bit behind. You just have to keep on working at it, keep on going, and don't just focus on the end product. You don't actually see all those sleepless nights, all of those hours of work, all of that hard work, all that effort, all that blood, sweat, and tears that they put into all the things that they did before they got to the pinnacle of success. Same thing with Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, a lot of people look at all of this stuff that he's doing and how famous he is, but he tells a story over and over again that he worked at this for 10, 15 years straight before he's gotten to this point where he's so famous and so successful. So he worked like a crazy person to get to this point. And so if we're not willing to put in that effort, then we're not going to get to that point. It's just the way it is. But we cannot blame talent or genius for it, because that's not the point of it. It's hard work, and it's always hard work, and it's always hard work. But that's something that we don't want to see, because hard work is painful. It really is. It's hard to work every single day without knowing where you're going, without knowing if you're ever going to get there, without knowing that if you are actually working on the right things or not, without knowing anything, guys. It's hard. It's meant to be hard, because that's how you weed out those people who are going to keep on going versus those people who are going to give up at the slightest obstacle. And most people are going to give up at the slightest obstacle. That's just the way it is. Most people are like that. But we are not, right? We're not going to give up, because we know talent is overrated. We know hard work matters, and we're going to keep on going even until the end. Even when we are on our deathbed, we're going to keep on going. I hope this makes sense to you guys. It's such an important topic. So please listen to this over and over again so you can remember that you want to have a growth mindset. You want to believe that you can get there, and it does not depend on your genetics. It doesn't depend on your DNA. It doesn't depend on what you were born with, because it doesn't matter what you were born with. You can make anything happen. You just have to work at it. Hope that you guys have an amazing day wherever you are. If you guys want to join my team, you can go on to patreon.com/boomshikha. I'll talk to you guys the next time around. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening. Go check out my website at themillionairehippie.com if you want more free, awesome content. If you really like the podcast, please consider giving me a 5-star review on iTunes. Until next time, namaste.